Hi Sam. Sam is your name?
Yes,
Yeah, and
that's right.
your ministry is called Red Ministry.
Yeah.
And nice to have you in our camp this year.
Thanks for
It's,
having me.
Really great to have you in. And I just wonder how you find when you come and see the Korean people. I think maybe the first time like this.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, first time hanging out on a Korean camp. Korean camp.
yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was lots of fun being here. Great community, great food, lots of good conversations. Yeah, lots of chili in all the food. The chili is different to the chili that I grew up with. My parents are Chinese Malaysian. Here the chili is there's lots of different spices. It's not just hot. There's sweetness and canned fish and other things in the chili. So it was good. Breakfast and dinner. Yeah.
What about how do you see the young people life when you interact with them?
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. So young people, they are just like any young person. You know, they love hanging out, they love chatting, they love playing soccer and running around and pushing that edge. That's with all young people. They love doing that. But what I thought was really funny last night when I was speaking was I said, and maybe I should have known this. I said, who was born here in Australia? and there was no one. They've all definitely come in the last couple of years or so. And then I asked who came here under the age of 13, and a large group of them, put their hand up and said we did. And so we would classify or say that they are the 1.5 generation. If they came here under the age of 13, they're going to go through their teen years and some of their primary school years, growing up in this in-between world. This home life, which is Asian, and church, which is Asian, and this Western society, which is schooling and media and the marketplace is Western. And growing up in this in-between world is definitely really tricky. That's my journey. I grew up in the in-between world and trying to work out your identity, trying to work out your faith, trying to work out who you are in this in-between world, as both these two worlds are very opposite, and they're giving you quite different messages. So really excited to see these young people, really excited to see them connect and hang out, but also knowing the journey that lies ahead of them. I think the journey is tricky. I think it's quite complicated, but I think in that complicated journey there is a richness. There is a vast richness that just growing up in one or the other that you don't get. So growing up in the in-between world is definitely tricky, but there was a definite richness. Some of the great characters of the Bible are second gen or 1.5s. Moses, he was an Israelite, but he grew up in the Egyptian palace. He grew up in the in-between world. Timothy's mother was a Jew, and his father was a Gentile. He grew up in the in-between world, and I think this in-between journey is hard, but there is a great richness in it and great space for character building and worldview understanding. So I'm really excited to see the Korean youth here and to see them head into this journey.
And now, how do you want to encourage them or have any kind of advice for these young people?
Yeah, lots of advice. Listen to your parents. Maybe I should say to the parents, don't be too harsh on the young people. Let them have some rope. Let them have some space. Advice to young people: growing up in the in-between world is very confusing. I would say to them, I like to talk about culture as lenses. Right? We see the world through our glasses, but we don't see our actual glasses until we take them off and go, oh, that's really dirty. I've got to clean the lenses. So the Asian culture is one lens, and the Western culture is another lens. One of the tricky things growing up is learning to see which is which, and learning to define which is which. So one of the first things I would say is start to learn to see what is Asian culture and what is Western culture, and then start to blend these two together and form your own new culture. And that's definitely a tricky journey to understand which is which. Because if you don't understand which is which I didn't, then it just gets all confusing, and it gets all kind of, oh, what is this? What is this? They're telling me to do this. They're telling me to do that. But to understand which comes from which culture, and then form a new culture, and not just a new youth culture, but form a new culture and a new faith culture. What it means to be a second-gen Christian, I think, is really key.
So that's a vision for the new generation.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think we need to see second gens rise up in the faith, and these second gen Christians are not going to look like our migrant faith. You know, those who've come here first generation, they have one type of Christian faith. The European Australians have another type of Christian faith. The second gens will have a new type of Christian faith. And if anything, I think the second gens will lead Australia into the new age, into multiculturalism. The key of the second gens is they will learn to see through both lenses. They will learn to see through the Asian lens, and they will also learn to see through the Western lens. So they'll be able to have both lenses. The problem with the difficulty with first gens is they can only see through the first gen lens. It's very hard for them to see the Western lens. And the Western lens can only see through the Western lens. It's very hard for them to see through the Asian lens. Whereas the second gen, they can see through both. They can see a greater diversity and understand a greater diversity. But it is a tricky journey to understand all of that. But I think like Moses and like Timothy, that grew up in this bicultural world, these were the guys that became some of the greatest leaders of the Bible. And I think these second gens, growing up in this atmosphere, have that opportunity to become some of the greatest leaders of the Christian faith here in Australia and maybe internationally. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see these Korean guys and see where the gospel will take them.
Yeah. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Yeah.
No worries. No, it's been great.
Yeah.
Great.